Welcome to a new Karma story presented to you from For You Karma, and today's story is Karma, a short story by Khushwant Singh.
Ooh, this is a good one.
I know, right? So, picture this. British-ruled India,
Ah, yes.
a time of stark contrasts and simmering tensions.
Lots of good material there.
We're about to meet a man named Sir Mohan Lal,
Okay.
an Indian gentleman who seems to have wholeheartedly embraced British culture,
Interesting.
perhaps even to a fault.
I wonder where this is going.
Well, what's intriguing about Sir Mohan is that he's almost a caricature of an Anglophile.
You know, I think you're right about that.
Singh paints a vivid picture of him meticulously dressed,
Oh, I love the descriptions in this story.
in a Savile Row suit,
Classic.
smelling of expensive cologne,
Ugh, so over the top.
down to the perfectly knotted Balliol tie.
No detail spared.
It's like he stepped right out of a London club,
Oh, totally.
meticulously crafting this image
This image, yeah.
of the sophisticated Englishman.
So meticulously crafted.
But there he is,
Uh-huh. Where is he?
waiting on a train platform
Oh, no.
in India,
The irony.
clutching the Times newspaper
Of course.
and a cigarette case
Let me guess.
filled with English cigarettes.
You got it.
It's almost comical.
Yeah, it really is.
This desperate attempt to erase any trace of his Indian heritage.
You can practically see him trying to will himself into being British.
His internal monologue is fascinating.
Oh, I know, right?
It reveals this deep disdain for everything Indian
Uh-huh.
and a yearning for England,
The motherland in his mind, I suppose.
the land he considers civilized and superior.
So misguided.
He avoids speaking Hindustani,
Really?
preferring to communicate in what he believes,
I can't wait to hear this.
his impeccable English.
Oh, dear.
You can almost feel this internal conflict,
Oh, absolutely.
this struggle
Yeah.
between his Indian roots and his adopted British identity.
Like he's trying to be two people at once.
And this conflict is further highlighted by his name,
Oh, how so?
Sir, a British honorific, juxtaposed with the traditionally Indian Mohan Lal.
Very interesting.
It's like he's caught between two worlds,
Yeah.
desperately trying to bridge a gap that may be unbridgeable.
I wonder if he even knows he's doing it.
And then we meet Lady Lal,
Oh, his wife.
Sir Mohan's wife.
Right.
What a contrast.
Tell me about her.
She embodies traditional Indian womanhood,
Okay.
described as simple and unassuming.
The opposite of her husband, then.
In her plain sari,
So starkly different.
chewing betel leaf.
It's almost like Singh is setting up a symbolic clash here.
The way Singh describes their appearances,
Yeah.
it really highlights the vast chasm between their worldviews.
Totally.
Sir Mohan striving for Western sophistication,
You're right.
and Lady Lal,
Uh-huh.
comfortable in her own cultural identity.
It makes you wonder if they even understand each other at all.
Their interactions, or rather the lack thereof,
Ooh. Tell me more.
speak volumes about the power dynamics at play.
Yeah, the power dynamics are so fascinating.
Sir Mohan is embarrassed by her presence,
Oh,
viewing her as a relic of a world he's trying to escape.
poor Lady Lal.
And she, in turn,
What about her?
seems resigned to her secondary role,
That's so sad.
accepting a dynamic that was all too common in those times.
A product of her environment.
Theirs is a relationship
Shaped by.
shaped by societal norms and colonial influences.
It's like they're living in two different realities.
Even their physical separation on the train speaks to this divide.
Oh, how so?
He's in first class,
Of course.
eager to engage in intellectual discourse with Englishmen,
Always trying to prove himself.
while she's confined to the Zenana compartment,
Oh, right.
a space designated for women.
Two worlds.
Two worlds existing side by side,
Yeah.
yet miles apart.
Oh, this is going to be good. This is where the train journey takes a turn.
Oh,
Sir Mohan is practically giddy with anticipation,
I can imagine.
picturing himself,
Yeah.
engaging in witty repartee with fellow Englishmen,
Of course.
validating his carefully constructed persona.
He's got all the props ready.
Right.
The time's his tie.
Uh-huh.
Even the English cigarettes.
It's almost painful to witness.
It really is.
This desperate need for approval.
But you know,
What?
reality has a way of shattering illusions.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Enter two boisterous, drunk British soldiers
Oh, no.
who barge into the first-class compartment,
This can't be good.
shattering Sir Mohan's carefully crafted world.
His bubble is about to burst.
Their arrival is a stark reminder of the power dynamics at play.
Yeah.
The soldiers are crude,
Ugh,
dismissive,
I bet.
and their casual racism hangs heavy in the air.
You can practically smell it coming off the page.
They represent The true face of colonialism.
The raw, unvarnished version.
That Sir Mohan, in his naivete, has chosen to ignore.
He's blind to it.
They see right through his facade,
Oh, yeah.
reducing him to nothing more than a nigger in their eyes.
It's sickening.
The irony is almost unbearable.
I know, it's so heavy-handed.
Sir Mohan, who has spent years
Yeah.
trying to distance himself from his Indian identity,
All for nothing.
is ultimately judged based on his race.
A harsh lesson.
It's a brutal lesson in the limits of assimilation.
No matter how hard he tries.
No matter how perfectly he mimics their mannerisms or adopts their customs,
Exactly.
he will never truly be accepted as one of them.
It's heartbreaking.
The confrontation escalates quickly.
Of course it does.
The soldiers mock his accent,
Cruel.
ignore his protests,
Power drunk.
and eventually they resort to violence,
What did they do?
flinging him out of the first-class compartment.
Oh, wow.
Sir Mohan is left speechless,
Humiliated.
humiliated,
His world is crumbling.
his carefully constructed world lying in shambles around him.
It's a turning point.
It's a moment of reckoning,
Yeah.
a forced confrontation with the reality of his situation.
You can't hide from it anymore.
And as the train pulls away,
Leaving him behind.
leaving a defeated Sir Mohan behind,
You cut to.
we see Lady Lal
Right.
in the Zenana compartment.
Oblivious.
She's completely oblivious to her husband's plight,
Oh, the irony.
calmly chewing her betel nut and gossiping with the coolie.
The contrast is so sharp.
That image of her spitting Beetlejuice from the window,
So powerful.
it's almost a symbolic gesture,
A rejection.
a rejection of the values that her husband so desperately clings to.
Exactly.
You could interpret it as a sign of indifference
It's his struggles.
to his struggles,
Or
perhaps even a subtle form of defiance.
while he's chasing after acceptance.
While Sir Mohan is busy chasing after acceptance in a world that rejects him,
Yeah.
Lady Lal remains grounded
In her own identity.
in her own identity, unfazed by the whims of colonial society.
Two completely different responses.
And this brings us to the central question.
The meaning of.
The meaning of karma.
Right.
Is Sir Mohan's fate a direct result of his actions?
A punishment for rejecting his heritage.
A punishment for rejecting his heritage?
Or is it just
Or is it simply a cruel twist of fate?
a random act of violence?
A random act of violence in a system rigged against him.
That's the question, isn't it?
So is it personal karma, societal karma, or a bit of both?
It's complex.
It's complex, and I think that's what makes this story so compelling.
Yeah. It really makes you think about the bigger picture, you know?
Absolutely, like how colonialism just warps everything
Exactly. It creates these artificial hierarchies.
based on race and culture,
And of course, Sir Mohan just internalizes all of it.
trying to become something he can never be,
Like he loses sight of himself completely.
of his own worth.
It's really sad.
It is. It makes you wonder
Yeah.
if he could have escaped this pressure,
The pressure to conform.
to strive for this impossible ideal
Or was he just destined to play this role?
in this system that's rigged against him.
It's a tragedy in a way.
You can almost feel sorry for him.
I do, even though his thinking is so flawed.
He's a product of his time, I guess.
Totally caught in this web of colonial power dynamics.
It makes you think, what would have happened if he had embraced his Indian heritage?
Instead of rejecting it.
Would he have been spared this humiliation?
Or was prejudice just too deeply ingrained in society?
Like it wouldn't have mattered either way.
That's what I love about Khushwant Singh.
What's that?
He doesn't give us easy answers.
No tidy resolutions.
He leaves us grappling with these uncomfortable truths
About identity power?
and the legacy of colonialism.
So what can we take away from this story?
Even though it was written decades ago.
Does it still hold up today?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's more relevant than ever.
How so?
This quest for identity, for belonging,
This need to find your place in the world.
It's universal. We all grapple with it.
In a world that's still dealing with issues of race and culture.
And power.
I think Sir Mohan's story is a cautionary tale.
A reminder to be critical of the systems we live in.
To question assumptions.
And to challenge those hierarchies that try to divide us.
And maybe most importantly,
What's that?
it reminds us that true strength lies in embracing who we are.
Not in trying to be someone we're not.
It's a tough lesson that Sir Mohan learns.
But a valuable one for all of us.
So in the end, karma isn't just about cosmic retribution.
Or simple cause and effect.
It's about understanding the complex web of choices and consequences.
And the systems that shape our lives.
It's recognizing that our actions,
even the small ones,
can have far-reaching impacts.
And that we all have a role to play.
In creating a more just and equitable world.
It makes you think, what kind of karma are we creating right now?
And what kind of world are we leaving behind?
That's something worth thinking about.
Long after this story ends.